Hello, everyone, and happy Financial Lit Tuesday. So, back at it again with another Financially Lit Tuesday episode. I'm back every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., bringing you news, tips, and tricks on how to wealth up. So, today we are going over student loan, and then I had a few questions that came up about the whole Biden plan with the account security. So I will answer questions regarding that as well. But for those of you tuned in, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know who's tuned in with me, and then go ahead and hit the share button because we do want to make sure that our friends, families, loved ones are getting this wealth of knowledge as well. Because what good is it wealthing up by ourselves? Let's bring our family and friends on the journey with us. And for those of you tuned in on the Sipping Wealth YouTube channel, be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss any other financially lit episodes in the future. And then for those of you looking for past episodes, you can find them on the YouTube channel as well, because there's definitely a lot of information on there. And I do go over like the whole Biden plan as well for the account surveillance. Before we jump into the student loan, the topic for today, I do want to shed some light on it because that was a question that I got from quite a few people within this past 2 days already about the Biden plan, which is the $600. I mean, any accounts like Cash App, PayPal, your Cash App, your PayPal, your crypto accounts, things like that, over $600 bank accounts, over $600 in income that you're receiving, that they will issue you a 1099 so that it can be properly reflected on your tax return. So that is to help surveillance and niche down on people that may not be paying taxes on all the income that they're receiving. So that is it's a plan. So it's not law, but it's something that Biden has been pushing that these financial institutions do enforce with their platforms. So it's supposed to start as of January of next year. So we'll see how that goes and whether or not PayPal, Cash App, and the other financial institutions are going to follow this plan. But that's it. So if I don't have any questions regarding that, I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic for today, which is student loan forgiveness and where are we? Because I know a lot of people have been like, yo, what happened to the student loan forgiveness? Like, is it ever going to happen? So there has been some efforts to the student loan forgiveness, like I guess promise that Biden made. So there has been some efforts, but it's not ideally what we, thought it was going to be. Hello, Facebook user. Facebook is a little weird with that, like where if it's within a group, it shows up as Facebook user. But yeah, hello. So as many of you might recall, President Biden campaigned like 6 months ago, like when he came into office and was like, hey, well, not 6 months ago, probably a little longer, but he was like, yo, I'm gonna push student loan forgiveness among the American people, so that to forgive a portion of their student loan debt. So during the ongoing pandemic, student loan repayment has been on hold. So since March of last year, student loan repayment has been on deferment for the nation in a sense. So up until next year, January. So the end of January 31st, 2022 is when they're like, all right, we're going to start asking for payments on those student loans again. So it has been extended repeatedly a couple of times. And now the final extension is supposed to be January 31st of next year. So the student loan debt in the U.S. is $1.73 trillion. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty scary. And it is growing 6 times faster than the nation's economy. So it's growing rapidly. Over 43 million students our borrowers with average debt of almost $40,000 every year. I mean, each of them. So you're looking at the average American that's over 43 million people with an average student loan debt of 40K. Like, do y'all have student loan debt? Because I know I do myself. Um, and how much debt are you looking at? I definitely want to see like what are your perspectives of the or like what you're dealing with in the audience as well, as far as what your student debt is looking like, and what you were hoping for out of this plan that Biden campaigned for. So the nation total student loan debt has increased since 2020 by over 8%. And then the average student loan debt increased by over almost 5% as well. So the debt is definitely increasing just about faster than the US dollar is dropping. So it is pretty scary out here. And so Democrats, excuse me. So Democrats called upon like Biden to forgive up to $50,000 worth of student loan debt per borrower. And Biden was like, "Nah, we can't do that. Nah." Right? And the American people were like, "What? What's going on?" But he said, "Okay, what I can look into doing is doing $10,000. But we're going to see." And we've been waiting to see since today. Right? So we're going to see how that goes. So things that they have like said, politicians have said to justify like the support of decreasing the student loan debt has been like student loan debt is literally a national crisis. A lot of people are going broke and poor because of student loan debt. It's hovering over families' finances. It will help also stimulate the economy because now they don't have this huge debt burden. And then the wealth gaps between like the racial and gender wealth gaps as well. So that'll help as well close that gap a little bit if the student loan debts were relieved. So one of the big stories that did come out was the $500 million in loan relief, and that went out to about 18,000 borrowers, and that was through ITT Tech. So students that felt like they were misled or displaced by ITT Tech back in 2016, which happened back in 2016, they forgave $500 million worth of that debt relief to 18,000 people. So that was kind of a relief. Recently, back in August, they did relieve over 200,000. I'll get the number for y'all. Yes. Over 200,000 disabled people. So, and these people that were disabled, they did relieve that debt as well for those individuals. And that kind of helped. But those were permanently disabled individuals. We'll go over. So you can also you can find there's if for anyone that has like that had been affected by ITT Tech, you can actually go to studentaid.gov, and it's called it's a loan discharge application and a school closure form, and you can literally fill out the form on that website, which is studentaid.gov, and so that they can help you with the whole ITT Tech and forgiveness for and hopefully you can get the forgiveness as well. Students that can also apply if they didn't not enroll or complete their program because if they had to complete their program at another institution because theirs had to close down. So the ITT Tech, or if your institution had to close down and you are unable to complete your program at that school, and you had like charges and loans because of that, you can also fill out that application for that as well. And that's the loan discharge application. And that's on the studentaid.gov website. Hey, Arthur. How's it going? Hope all is well. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you everyone that's tuned in as well. Like I said before, of course, drop a comment. Let me know who else is tuned in, and also hit the share button and subscribe button if you're tuning in from the Sipping Wealth YouTube channel. The focus with student loan forgiveness right now in the news is targeting towards public service workers. So now they're like, hey, let's look at these public service workers, these and seeing about and pushing student loan forgiveness. Now there's a lot of pushback from different groups of people about the student loan forgiveness because they feel like, hey, I don't support it, things like that. So there has been pushback from different groups of individuals, but this seems to be the talk right now as far as forgiving student loan forgiveness for public service workers. So these are your people that are nurses, teachers, police officers, like that. That is essentially what they're looking for right now, and seeing how they can push that out, and seeing what the approval rate and everything is good, how that's going to flow. So that should be very interesting as far as whether or not it ends up passing, and how people are going to go about applying for it, and how public is going to be made. So make sure I'm hitting everything. Looking at my notes, y'all. Okay, so there was actually a window that just closed September 24th for the request information regarding the public service loan forgiveness program, which I believe was just to get more information as far as how they can build more of a rating behind pushing out the forgiveness for public service individuals. So that window just closed. So we should be looking at an answer from them pretty soon. So hopefully within the next coming months or so, they'll have a program or extension of the program to kind of give more debt cancellation for public servants and things like that as well. On the other note, so with the CARES Act did help some HBCUs as well. So the CARES Act, which is the coronavirus relief in 2020 that passed, so it did help out HBCUs, historically Black universities, clear out student debts as well. So for their 2020 to 2021 graduates, that was like one of the big headlines and things like that. I don't know if y'all knew about it. Hey, Ori, how's it going? Thank you for tuning in. That it was huge news that these HBCUs had their graduating class had their debt relieved with these HBCUs. So that was definitely big. It was a big initiative that stemmed from everything that was happening last year with the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter and all that good stuff. So that was a pretty good initiative for the HBCUs that was passed last year. As far as what it's going to look like in the future when it comes to student loans, and for the majority of Americans, as far as whether or not that $10,000 is actually relief is going to actually pass or not, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how that flows. And then for the public service individuals, they should be coming out with something more regarding that public servant debt cancellation. So I would look for it on the studentaid.gov website and just kind of stay up to date on the news if you are a public service individual. And for those that were affected by ITT Tech or had their school closed down, you do want to go on that website and fill out that forgiveness form as well. There are other programs out there having to do around student loan forgiveness for people that are that has economic incapabilities, things like that. So there are programs out there, and the best place to look is directly on the studentaid.gov website, or reach out to them, so that you can actually get into these programs. So I highly recommend it. I know someone else that had their debt relief because how long was it? It's been like 16 years since she was in college, and she had some economic difficulties and things like that. They required her to make like a couple of payments and then forgave the rest. So there are like programs out there. If you like fall under the parameters and things like that, as far as like the qualifications are concerned. Um, but it's not like, oh, you're doomed and stuck with the student loans. Like I said, I have student loans myself. I'm hoping for Biden to, relieve some of this debt, but we'll see how that goes. So that is it for the student loan thing. I'm gonna go back to, of course, you can always apply for forbearance and deferment for with your lenders if you like are unemployed, or if you have like financial difficulties. So for those of you that aren't earning any money, or like have a financial difficulty, you can always apply for forbearances. And there are programs out there that you can apply for that, so you can push back the day that you have to actually start paying for your student loan, and without interest being incurred. Pay them folks their money. You gonna pay them for me? Let me know. Let me know when you want to sign the check to pay them for me. So technically, mine's on deferment, so I don't have to start paying until next year. No, but it has zero interest, so it's actually a good time to start paying and things like that, because zero interest does end February 1st. So for those of you, definitely take advantage of this time to make some payments on the student loans, because it's at zero interest, and that ends February 1st of next year. Once that period ends, the interest is going to start incurring on that balance, and it gets hefty pretty quickly. For those of you, like I said, that had that financial hardship, definitely seek forbearance or go through those programs that allow you to postpone your payment or put off your payment. But yeah, so there is the federal income driven repayment plan as well. So if you're lower income, or if you have no income, definitely push that through as well. Let me know if you have any questions having to do with student loans. We want to make sure I clarify what's been going on in the student loan world. If you have any questions at all, financials as well, altogether, you can definitely ask as well. I'm going to also touch on the course. So we do have a tax course out right now at learntaxcourses.com. So the link is in the caption. You can click on there, check it out. I highly recommend it, especially if you're a business owner, if you're self-employed, if you're receiving 1099 income, contractor, all that good stuff. Especially with this Biden plan that has been pushed out. Now, this is something that's not new, but it's something that has been pushed to the forefront of the news recently because January is nearing. So this actually was passed back in March when he passed the initial CARES Act. Was it the CARES Act that was passed in March? It's one of the acts that was passed in March. So he passed this in March, and within there, within that act, of course, the third stimulus was in there, and that was big news. So when the third stimulus was in there, there was also other things in there as well. And one of the things was to increase surveillance on accounts for the IRS, so that to help decrease tax evasion. So a lot of people are going to be hit with huge tax bills moving forward. especially when they receive these 1099s, because you're used to not receiving 1099s. I know with like Square and PayPal, even like Uber, um, and these other rideshare companies, they don't report 1099s until you're over a certain threshold. So if you're under like 5,000, some of them is $20,000. If you're under that, then they don't report, they don't give you a 1099. So it's up to you to report that income to the IRS. So, but the IRS is saying, look, we need you to start reporting if it's more than $600. So these people that are used to, doing Uber and things like that, and making their little Uber, making Uber money on the side. Maybe they made an extra $10,000, $5,000 on Uber using that platform during the year. Now, they're essentially pushing for that to be reported to the IRS and for you to make sure that you file that on your taxes as well. So with that being said, that tax bill can get really heavy, and making sure that you have the right financial things put in place when it comes to your bookkeeping, keeping your receipts, making sure you keep those deductions, you get those credits to keep your tax bill down is going to be crucial, because this is going to be a heavy hit on the working class Americans and those self-employed individuals. A lot of people were self-employed from the pandemic. So there's a lot of new business owners. There's a lot of people that have side hustles, things like that. So there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of income that's not being reported on right now that will be. And then when you get that tax bill for 20 plus percent of your income having to pay taxes on, you're not ready to pay that bill, because you have your regular income tax bracket and then you have self-employment tax. Self-employment tax alone is 15.3%. Then you have your income tax, which could range from 10% to, with the new Biden bill, to 35 or 37. So, it's a huge chunk, and a lot of people aren't ready to pay that kind of money, especially when they're paying taxes throughout the year. He said, I know they're coming to get me. So to help with people like that are like, hey, I need to decrease that. I'm worried as far as what that tax bill is going to look like. I highly recommend getting your books in order, getting your bookkeeping in order. You can reach out to Grand Rev, of course, and we can get you onto the platform. We can get you onto QuickBooks at a cheaper rate, so at a discounted rate as well. You can come on and come on as a bookkeeping client, whatever the case may be, as far as making sure that your financials is together, that you getting the right write-offs and the credits when it comes to doing your tax returns, so that you're not stuck with a huge tax bill at the end of the year, because it's going to be a huge, it's going to be a big difference. Which brings me back to the tax course as well. So those of you that are used to following your own taxes and things like that, and maybe you're just used to doing a lot of data entry, but you don't really know tax code, you don't really know what taxes are altogether, I highly recommend this course. For those of you that are like, hey, I don't want to do my own taxes moving forward, I recommend this course. And for those of you that are like, hey, I want to make some more income and I want to be able to offer a tax as a service, then we do have the advanced course as well. So whatever like predicament you're in when it comes to taxes, learntaxcourses.com literally has the different tax courses that can help with in whatever realm you want to study it. I recommend Learning Tax for Everyone, because even if I do your taxes, things that you're doing during the year is what's going to really help decrease your tax bill. So it's important to have some knowledge of taxes, because if you wait until the end of the year, it's late already. The year already happened. So those things that you're supposed to have in place that to get those credits, those things that you're supposed to have in place to make sure that you're getting the max amount of deductions, or that you're properly depreciating all your assets, things like that. Those things should be in place during the year. But if you wait to the end of the year to file your taxes, at that point, you're just ready to get your taxes filed. You're not bringing all your receipts to the table. You're not taking advantage of all the credits that you could have. So the deductions are low, the credits are low, and then you're rushing the process to file your taxes because you just want to be done with it. So I definitely highly recommend the course. If you know anyone out there as well, this literally is a course for just about everyone that's willing to learn about tax codes, as well as those that want to offer it as a service for the advanced version of the tax course. But yes, any questions? Any questions at all? I know I went over quite a bit of information. So that's the website right there, learntaxcourses.com. Definitely head over there. And if you have any questions regarding the courses, anything like that, feel free to reach out, and I'll clarify any questions that you may have as well with it. But that's it. Definitely went over the student loan forgiveness. Hopefully the information was beneficial to you all. Go ahead and go to the Sipping Wealth YouTube channel if you missed any of the recording previously, and be sure to subscribe as well. And thank you, y'all, for tuning in to another episode of Financially Lit Tuesday. So we're back every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And be sure to share with your family and friends. Thank you, y'all.